Next, I think I'm ready to add the second face of the Muse. And for that, I'm going to use a dark color again. I'm going to use, not black, but I'm going back to this dark, it's called Payne's Gray. So it's like a dark blue, stormy blue. And I know that she's living somewhere in here, that these flowers will be overlapping her. Sometimes the face is already there, and then the flowers come around, but now the flowers are here, and she's coming into this environment that we've created for her. I'm going to look at my list that I made, and that hopefully you made too. And at the page of inspiration, I'm going to let her be who she desires to be. I'm going to try not to judge her as the strokes come through. Now I'm using a small round brush. Wondering if I want to use a bigger brush. All right, I'm going to try a bigger brush. Yeah. Adding a little bit of water to this because it's a thicker paint. If it was a fluid acrylic, then it would flow a little better. So I'm just adding a little bit of water. It's not enough to make it run, but just enough to have a slight puddle. All right, where do you live, Muse? I'm going to try and do it in mostly one stroke, so I'm not going over and over again. I want her to take up a lot of this space. So I think this Muse is still a little hidden. Be able to see a little bit of her neck. Here's her chin. It's going to be coming up in behind these flowers and back up. Just going to solidify these lines now. Put a little bit of shadow under her neck. And going around the flowers or patterns that I made. Okay. I'm thinking that her eyes are going to be about here. And instead of drawing the lines in this time like we did for our 20-step face, I'm going to put the shadows in. We're going to start to build her form out instead of going with her line work. So her eyes are going to be about here. If you did the whole oval, her eyes are about halfway down the face. And I'm just going to put the shadow in. And I know there's a space between the eyes, and here's her other eye. And the space between her eyes is where your nose is, so it's a bit lighter. She might look a little scary for a little bit. Her nose, I'm going to put shadow for her nose right about here. And then her upper lip shadow right here. So I do a little V or an M, push it out, and then she has a little bit of shadow underneath for her bottom lip right here. Yeah. Her eyes will probably end up coming up a little higher. You'll look at yours and you can adjust it where you want as we go along. So we're working a little more intuitive and abstract now. So we've got the eye mark, the nose, lips. We know her chin line, her jaw is here. We know her forehead's up here. We haven't added any lines for hair yet. If she has hair. Just going to put a little bit of line work in for the part, just so I know where her hairline is, but not going much farther than that. Okay, I know there's going to be a little bit of shadow under her hair. And at this point, I've got where I think the darkest shadows are. I'm now going to take purple. And I still have my white out from earlier in this dark Payne's gray. And I'm going to play around with the darks and the lights and the shadows. So those are the darkest darks. I'm going to take a little bit of white. I know that her forehead has light here. It's going to be light down her nose. Light on her cheeks, under her eyes. I'm going to switch my brush because this one isn't really one of my scrubby brushes. So it's getting a little wiry, so this might end up being a play brush later, but I'm going to switch to a thicker hog's hair brush. Can't find my biggest one right now. That's all right. And I'm not necessarily going over the line or bumping up against too much stuff. I'm just sort of going in the spaces in between. I'm going to dip into the purple a little bit now. Come into the other areas. So this is my darkest, the Payne's gray. The white is, I'm not cleaning my brush, so the white is mixing a little bit with the other colors on my brush and being the highlight. And then the purple's kind of my medium. But eventually they're going to be coming together. Corner of the eyes. And the paint is a little bit transparent, so you can see a little bit of the layer that's coming underneath. Put a little bit in that bottom lip, around the chin. So my brush is very dry. I haven't wet it yet. And I'm not loading my brush very heavy with color. Now right now the neck is going to be my darkest because it's the farthest back under the chin, and I want the face to come forward a bit more. And I might bring it down in behind some of the flower marks that we've made. Now you can choose any color for the face. Remember, our muse isn't necessarily human. She's just human-esque. Going around my fox, but not necessarily going right up to the black or to his lines. We call that a glow. So I'm leaving a little bit of layer, the layer before it, to be seen. Okay, coming back up. I'm going to step back and look at what I've got going here. I'm going to come back in again with darks for the eyes. I try to work both sides at the same time. Adding a bit of white, coming back into the cheeks. Working fairly quickly, just so that the colors side by side can blend. So it's really a dance of darks and lights right now. Knowing that the lightest parts of the face are typically the chin, the lower lip, the bridge of the nose, and the cheeks and the forehead. Just trying to get the form in right now. And we'll refine her a little later. Right now the message I got was her head is in the clouds. Or it kind of looks like an explosion. Maybe she's got too much going on in her mind right now. I'm going to put a little bit of white above the eyes because we have that highlight right above our eyebrows. Maybe a little bit of light on her throat right here. But mostly dark, so I'm going to come back in. Define her chin again. Touch up a bit of the shadows. I know that right here around the nose is a little darker. Eventually she'll have maybe some crease lines here. She's looking a little scary on there. With that upper lip. I know that I'm going to need to rework her nose a little bit eventually. Coming into the lights of the cheeks again. And each time I come in, I'm sort of going a little less paint, a little less coverage. And my brush is still pretty dry. The hairline again. It's okay if you overlap into some of your other designs. You can always bring them back or make them disappear. That was a little darker than I wanted. I just wiped off some of my brush and I'm just going to come back in. Come back into the lip again. Making sure that the peaks of the lip are going to line up with the nose. And the shadow under here. Also, when I'm painting the face, I'm thinking about the shape of the face. So I want my brush strokes to kind of blend over here, like over the tops this way, instead of going like straight. I'm going in the direction of the curves of the face. Just lightening and lightening up this little cheek here. It's gotten a little dark. All right, so her form is in. I see she's got one eye higher than the other one here. I'm going to bring her cheek up a little bit. Okay. Switching to just a smaller round brush. I'm going to come in with the Payne's Gray. And I know that the nostrils are going to line up with the tips of the lip here. Nostril. And you might not be able to see the nostril either, but just want the tip of her nose in there. Sometimes I just have to get in front to see. She's going a bit sideways, and I think it's because I'm standing sideways when I'm painting her. All right. One trick is, if you're fast enough and your paint is still wet, you can grab your paper towel and you can get that mark off there. Now it's taken some of my purple off too. I'm just going to straighten up her nose a bit. Excuse me for standing in front. Now because this brush is wet, it might move around some of the layer underneath if it wasn't dry. Just gonna grab my scrubby brush again here and blend that. That's a little better. Just gonna look in the camera here. Hello. All right. It's a little better. And I know later on I'm going to be refining it a bit more, but more light there, more light here. All right. Now let's see if I can get those nostrils in. just gonna, I know little lines here would come up. Maybe I'll just put the tip in like this. And the nostrils would be over here. Then she's got the crease there, where the nose meets the rest of the face. And I know that there's going to be a bit of shadow here. I might just outline just a touch of the nose. I'm going to put in a hint of the eyebrows. It's a darker color. Take a bit of the white and purple again. Make sure I'm not in your way. Okay. Come into the ball of the nose here. And then just a little bit of the outsides of the nose. The tips of the nostrils here, and maybe this. No, I'm gonna leave that. Okay, got the nose in. We got a hint of the eyebrows. Her eyes. Is she gonna have open eyes or closed eyes? I'm gonna open her eyes up a bit. All right. I know the corners of the eyes move away from the nose a bit. So one's going to be here, and I want it to be pretty close, right there. One eye. Then I'm going to put the other one. I want them to be similar, but they won't be the same. I feel like, no, I think it's okay. My girls tend to have big eyes. The better to see with, I suppose. All right, then I'm going to put her pupil in. Another half moon upside down. One over here, putting them right in the middle. You could have them look sideways if you wanted to. There's that. Still using my dark color here. I'm going to put in. Did I say? I guess, sorry, I'm putting in the iris. Now I'm putting in the pupil. Pupil is the dark part of the eye. Not worried about a reflection yet. It's going to make it all dark. Because we'll add reflection in later with white. I'm just going to step back and see how she's doing. Can you see the eyes there? Let me see. Yeah, you can. Okay. All right, now let me see. We usually can see just a bit of the upper lid. Slightly. I know that she may or may not have some eyelashes going here. I'm not going to add them yet. Then we have the corner of the eye usually comes in a bit, and underneath. I'm not going to totally close the eye in. Move her eyebrow down a bit, I think. I'm going to take a bit of the white. I'm not cleaning my brush up. I want it to have a little bit of the color that's there. I'm going to come in around the edges, put some of the whites in. Not worried about being perfect because we're still pretty early on in our process. I know that light usually hits right under here. I might just add a little more purple to that. Just on the top of the lid too. Bring some of that down into the lip and the nose. I feel like okay. Trying to let the inner critic release here. When my inner critic goes, yeah, but look at her neck, it's too small. I'm like, well, no, her neck is behind some of these flowers. Well, her eyes are really big for that nose. Well, that's the nose she wants. And she's not ready yet, inner critic, so just let her be. I'm going to put a little light on the top of the lip here. Lighten up these flecks. I know that her face has come down in here too. So we'll see how that starts to change. Just ask her if she needs any more lights. So I think that's where she's going to stop for right now. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to sneak in a little ear here. There's her nose, coming straight across. Just the tip of her ear. There's one. The other is going to be in behind some of these flowers. I'm going to shade that in. A little darker than the rest because it's in behind. Bring this line out a bit more from the cheek. There it is. I might even add just a bit of light with purple in the iris here. Just keeping her monochromatic for now. A little bit of light in the corners. Something happened here. I'm going to darken the crease of her mouth. So I'm darkening the holes here. We already did the nostril bit, which aren't quite lining up anymore with her lips. I'm just going to fix that. Pardon me again. I go in front. This one seems to be. This one, not so much. There. Color that in. And let's see, I know her lip. I used my face as a reference, so I'm going down. Where do those corners go again? Right, they line up with the middle of my eyes. So the middle of her eyes are quite big, so her mouth's going to come over a little bit more. I'm just going to put the hint of her lower lip. There. blend that in a little bit. Our next layer will help with bringing her all together. Okay, so she's starting to have a little bit of presence now, a little bit of weight. I'm going to come under here again with her chin and just redefine that line that kind of got lost when I worked on the neck. Haven't decided yet what's happening with her hair or how we're integrating this yet. And I am going to put just a bit of reflection in her eye for now, just to give her a little bit of life while she watches us. Maybe a little bit of light there. There. Okay. I'm going to let her rest a little bit before we come in for the next step. In the next step, we're going to be doing a glaze. We're going to be covering the whole thing over. It's going to give her a whole new look, a whole new tint, and then we're going to come in and tend to her needs.